Limiting belief number 11. I'm too old and I'm too young. This is something that a lot of people deal with. And I guess it's just a matter of fact that, sometimes we're too old and we think we can't get a job, because I've heard people say that to me. The reason I can't find this job is I think I'm too old, and they're picking younger people. Or younger people say I'm too young, or, I'm not seasoned enough to get this job. Well, you have to remember, you are what you think. So if you think you're too old, then you're too old. If you think you're too young, then you're too young. Plato said, "He who is calm and happy nature will hardly feel the pressure of age, but to him who is of an opposite disposition, youth and age are equally a burden." So the idea is that you have no pressure regardless of what age you are. You will not have a problem thinking whether you're too young or too old. You just go ahead and do whatever it is that you do. Apply for any job that you want, regardless of whether you think you're too young or too old. But if you think of the opposite, then both youth and age become a burden. They become something that overwhelms you. So don't worry about it. You are what you are. Again, another person said, age is a question of mind over matter. If you don't mind, it doesn't matter. Very true statement. And Abraham Lincoln said, in the end, it's not the years in your life, it's the life in your years. So again, just think about that. I've had people say that, they were too old for a position, and they weren't old at all. Maybe they were in their mid 40s or whatever, mid 50s, whatever. It doesn't matter. Remember, you have experience. If you're an older worker, you have a lot of experience that you can offer an employer over someone who's just starting out in the industry, and vice versa. If you're young, you have a passion, you have enthusiasm, you have growth, so don't worry about your age. Again, live your life and forget your age. Limiting belief number 12. I've tried it before and failed, so I'll fail if I try again too. So again, Star Wars, Yoda said, do or do not, there is no try. So if you fail, then it's not a reflection of who you are, it's just an event. So maybe you need to fail often before you succeed. So I think the opposite of success on a coin is failure. And you have to flip that coin as many times until you hit the side that says success. So here's a warning. If you want to give up, don't. And that's the absolute truth. Don't give up, because if you give up, then you're losing ground. You've lost your path. You lost your way. So a lot of the reasons why most people don't succeed is they actually give up. They do. And that's the end of their trial. That's the end of their focus. That's the end of their moving forward. So never, never, never give up. If something is important for you, really important, don't give up. Try to find a solution. Ask other people, ask their opinions, talk to people. Make sure that it happens for you. And it will. If you don't give up, it will happen for you. Limiting belief number 13. I'm happy with how things are now. So you're living in a comfort zone. You love your comfort zone. You don't want to move out of the things that are comfortable for you, because it's scary to be outside that comfort zone. So what is a comfort zone? Comfort zone is defined as a situation where you feel completely secure, comfortable, and relaxed to what you currently have. Why should you do anything more? You're comfortable. I mean, I'm making a living, it's not the best job in the world, but I get paid every week, and that kind of thing. And so why get out of my comfort zone? However, this is a state which highly successful people try their best to avoid. So most people who are successful will avoid being in a comfort zone. Definitely, they'll avoid it as much as they can, because as soon as they get comfortable, they have to jump up and do something else to move forward. Otherwise, you just settle in your ways. And if you settle, you're losing progression. Because opposite to what common people believe, that being in the comfort zone is safe, successful people, on the other hand, know how dangerous it is when you are in your comfort zone. So if you're in your comfort zone and you enjoy where you're at, you never want to move forward, you're never going to grow, most likely that's where you'll stay. And if that's okay with you, then that's okay. That's not a problem. But the point is, if you want to succeed, if you want to grow, if you want to move up the ladder, you have to get out of that comfort zone. Strive for something greater than yourself. Here's 7 reasons why comfort zones are dangerous. Number 1, it blocks growth. When you are in your comfort zone, it is but normal to feel content and secured. These two behaviors, being content and secured, often cause us to lose or close our doors to change and progress. So if you feel secure, if you feel really happy in your life, that's great. But remember, in terms of progress, you may never move forward, because remember this, things change all the time. You know, our internet changes, our social media changes, our the ways that we learn change. Things change all the time. So if you stay in the mode of, you know, comfort in that zone, then you're not going to progress. You're not going to move forward. And we fear the discomfort that change will bring in our lives. We don't like change. Change is uncomfortable for us. Fearing change is like disapproving progress and growth. So if you don't like change, a lot of older people don't like change. When I say that, I'm referring to like learning the internet. If you've learned everything by hand over the years and you never used the internet or anything online, all of a sudden you're in your 60s and you have to do that for the first time in your life. That scares people. But again, it reduces your progress and your growth. So you're not going to move forward. So you have to take those things on. You have to learn new things. And as such, it leads us to becoming obsolete in an ever-changing world. So if you don't know anything about computers and you're an older person, you're going to be obsolete. People are not going to hire you because they use them for everything. Even cash registers are computerized now. You know, you have to know how to use things that are, you know, progressive. And so you have to learn those. Otherwise, you'll become obsolete. Comfort zone drives you down to hardship. As mentioned, unwillingness to go out of your comfort zone blocks your potential progress and growth. And as we know, life is constantly changing. And if you are not changing, you have no other way but to go down in life. So since progress is blocked, your life situation and status will remain constantly normal, or it will get harder. Number 3, comfort zone leads to boredom and discontentment. So you'll get bored. Inability to get out of your comfort zone has a chain of negative effects. And when you experience hardship, things are difficult, then you'll feel bored or discontent in your life. So if you're not learning something new, if you're stuck in that comfort zone, you're going to experience a lot of boredom. And being comfortable is often the reason for discontentment, because you did not let progress come into your doors. As such, you've allowed yourself not to experience so many great things in life. Number 4, comfort zone triggers negative mindset. There's a saying, an idle mind is the devil's playground. Because you feel discontented, because you're stuck, and you have more free time in your hands, and you have a great tendency to create negative emotions and thoughts of negativity. Think about this. If you're kind of in your comfort zone and you're bored and you're not moving forward, you start to think negatively about things. You know, you're lazy, you're inactive, you're idle, you're maybe careless, and maybe you're thoughtless. You don't really think about what other people, you know, are trying to say to you to help you move forward. People who are hardened by life often become more hardened by life because of negative emotions and thoughts. They choose to be in the comfort zone, yet they endlessly complain and react instead of being proactive and do something to change their life circumstance. I don't know about you, but I know people in my life and even myself where in the past I may have complained, or they complain about something in their lives, and it's something that they needed to change rather than their outside circumstances. So if you hear someone complain about something, perhaps it's something they need to change within themselves. Number 5, comfort zone causes lack of drive and purpose. This is so important. What is your purpose? Again, it's so important to know what your purpose is, what your why is. So being in your comfort zone leads us to live life without purpose and drive because you're comfortable. There's nothing to change. Because every day we just do normal things that we do and expect the same things we normally receive. And that's not going to happen. If you don't grow, you're not going to get extra rewards. Things are not going to change for you. And as such, we don't see anything special with our day within our days of our lives. Number 6, comfort zone leads to missed opportunities. And this is a big one. If you're comfortable in your own skin, if you're comfortable doing what you're doing, you never want to grow, you're going to miss a lot of opportunities because opportunities are everywhere. And as such, successful people achieve success because they are always in the lookout to grab opportunity at hand. They're always thinking, what's next? What's next? On the other hand, unsuccessful people never achieve success because they wait for things to happen instead of creating it. It's like waiting for a bus that never comes, then what are you going to do? I guess you got to do something different, go on off on another direction. So when you are in your comfort zone, you are part of those who just wait for things to happen. And I know people like that. They just wait for things to happen. And sometimes they do, but for the most part, they don't. You have to go chase your dreams. Being too comfortable causes you to be left behind. Absolutely. So don't miss the boat. Number 7 is comfort zone limits your chance to live life to its fullest. Experiencing life to its fullest is the moment you are no longer fearful to be out of your comfort zone. So you have to get out of your fear, your zone of fear to get out of the comfort zone. Unless you go out of your comfort zone, you will not feel the real freedom and prosperity of life. You will always wonder, what if? What if I had done that? How would my life have changed? I wish I had done that. I missed the boat. I could have done that, but I didn't. I could have invested in that, or I could have taken that class. I should have. What if? And you just drive yourself crazy. Don't do that. We cannot become what we want to be by remaining what we are. We can only change our life if we are brave enough to be out of our comfort zone.